example, today I'm starting off, I've got this image here, which is a rusty old gate. I've got this image here, which is a bit of graffiti, and I've got this image here, which is a rusty pipe against a brick wall. Now, they're all images from my locality, which is near Anglia Square, somewhere I go quite regularly on my way into the city. So they're important to my sense of place. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to make sure that the images are the right size, as always. So I'll do that really quickly. You can use any of your images. You can use your black and white ones, your coloured ones, you can use manipulated ones. It really is up to you. Any from your architecture shoots. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my images are ready. I've changed the size. This one I think I'm going to tweak the colour a little bit because we're layering the images over each other, so they need to be really intense so that when we change how see-through they are, we don't lose the power of the image and the patterns in the image and the texture. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to make a duplicate layer of this one because I think I might come back and use the original image later on. So it's good to have a copy here like this. Now I can do whatever I want to this copy, and I've still got this one saved underneath it. So I think I'm gonna change the colour balance because I love the oranges and reds, but I really want to emphasise those. So I'm gonna bring that up there. I like that. I could also change the saturation of that colour a little bit too, like this. Now, if I was going to print this image off on its own, I probably wouldn't have it this intense, but because, like I said, we're layering, it needs to be really strong. So I'm going to add a little bit more contrast to this as well. There we go. So I'm happy with that at the moment. I'm going to drag this one in a minute on top of this image, but before I do that, I want to make this one black and white, I think. So I'm going to go there to black and white. There we are. Remember how to do this. Image adjustments. And I'm going to change the contrast again because it's going to be layered, so I need it to be really strong so it shows through the image that I'm going to put on the top. I think it's bright enough though, leave it at that. Right, so I'm going to go to here and I'm going to pick this image up and I'm going to drop it down, float it on the toolbar up here on top of the other image, drop it down and then arrange it. Now obviously at the moment it completely covers the other image underneath, so you can't see it at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change how see-through, how transparent it is with this tool here, and if you watch, the other image will show underneath. There we are. Like that, so that's quite interesting. Now, one thing you can do is you can play around if you want to see which layer works best on top of the other one. So you can, I'm going to have to make a copy of that, I think, because it's locked. So I'm just going to make a copy of this background layer, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to shut this one because I don't need it. Now, we could play around, so I could make this its full opacity again. So look at it as it is now, think, do I like it that way? I'm going to change the opacity down again, swap them around, or do I want it this way? Which way looks best? It's very similar really, I think. I actually prefer it that way. I'm going to leave it that way around. So there you have it. We've got two layers, one on top of the other, and we're using the opacity tool to make sure that we can see through the top into the bottom. That's the first thing you're going to do. Now, you could resize that image if you wanted to and move it around. So I could go to Edit, Free Transform, and I could move it left or right if I wanted a little, quite like a little bit of the colour showing through. Actually, it's quite good. I wonder if it goes in the other direction. It's quite nice, isn't it? I'm going to leave it like that. So I've used Free Transform to move my image around. If I wanted to, I could rotate it, have it at an angle. It's also quite interesting, but I think I'm going to have it straight on. So having it like that, that's good. Like this little sticker showing through, I like that as well. So just press enter on that. Now I'm going to go back to this image in the middle, which I haven't used yet. And again, I'm going to change the contrast just to make it really strong. I'm going to put it up quite high, add a bit more brightness. There we go, I think it's okay. Now I'm going to select this rusty gate area and I'm going to take it across to the other image. So I'm going to use this form selection tool. Now this is a magic wand. Now this picks up pixels, which makes it really good for getting texture. And it's really good for selecting little detailed areas. So I'm just going to click on and you'll begin to see it will pick up everything that it can see that's that same pixel colour. If you want to select other areas, you can. You just have to press your shift button down and hold it. And you have to keep holding it, otherwise if you let go it will come off. So I'm going to pick up some areas. This is working quite well, quite like it. I'm going to get some of this bit behind here. Interesting, this one. That little bit there. I'm going to go for this black bit here that's behind this fence. I can pick up as much of that. I might see if I can get some of the chain. I don't know if I can. You can always zoom in a little bit, and that will help you get some areas quite like those little holes there. Get the lock. So I've got some bits of that. I'm quite happy with that. I quite like that bit there as well, actually. Right, so I'm happy with that, and we just use our normal selection. So we're selected. We just use our normal tool of layer, new, via copy, and you'll see here it is. If I shut the eye on the background, let me shrink it down. If I shut the eye on the background, you'll see what I've selected. So you can see I've kind of got this really cool textural part of that photo. So I'm going to pick it up using my selection tool and pop it on top of the other image that I've already started making, and you'll begin to see how we can get some interesting effects. So I really like that, and I think that looks really good. I think it just needs a bit of added detail, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my graffiti image and pick up some detail from that. Now I don't want to use that one, the really intense one. I think I'm going to use this one, the background, which is why I said keep a copy. So make sure that's selected, because I want a paler orange this time, I think. I'm going to use my magic wand tool again, and I'm just going to pick up as much of this orange as I can, quite like that. And I might go for some of this pink. Just some of these graffiti shapes. Now obviously this is quite a close-up of the graffiti, and it's actually text, but it's so close up that we can't read what it says. Quite happy with that. So layer, new, via copy. There it is. I'm going to shut the eye on these ones so you can see what I've picked. I'm going to take it across now to the image. I think I'm happy with that. And I might make it bigger, because I think it would look good if it was a bit bigger, and it would sort of echo this shape that's in the background. So I'm going to use Edit, Free Transform, stretch it out, but without distorting it too much. Maybe I'll twist it a little bit, like that, and have it coming across. Yeah, I like that. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to press enter. I might see about changing the colour a little bit. Let's have a look and see what it looks like. So we can go to, I might try hue and saturation just to, that's better. I think that's stronger. But you could change it to be any colour. I personally don't like that. I think that's a bit too fluorescent, but you know, it's up to you. You can play around with these. Now, obviously, all these stages, at every point, you must take screenshots. Remember, you get marks for showing your progress. And again, you can play around with where your layers are. So say I wanted layer 2 to be under layer 1, I just pick it up and I can move it. And it's good to take screenshots of you playing around with this so that you can, it's not letting me do it, there we go. So you can see what it looks like. I don't know, I think I prefer it the other way around, but it's up to you. You can have a go and see what you think. So there we go. That's the end of this tutorial. So make sure you take your screenshots, make sure you upload them directly to your sketchbook so that you show your progress, and then you're going to print this image off. This image is going to be a large final piece, A3 size, because it's going to become the centre of a zine that you're about to make. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Take care.